Alright, hey guys, it's Gingy Snaps. I'm here bringing you technically my most competitive deck for Standard, that being this Granblue thingamabobber. Granblue, for the most part, has pretty solid matchups, as far as I can tell. It can both take him and then dish him out. Hands get a little bit awkward, but other than that, it all works out pretty evenly. So yeah, it doesn't beat Angel Feathers at all. But, you know, learn to play around with it. I haven't been able to figure out how to beat Angel Feathers with Granblue, and that's probably just because my lack of experience in the game thus far. But I mean, I'm a solid Granblue player, but I just don't know that matchup very well. So yeah, so starting off, we got this guiding zombie thing. Get out of here. For grade 3s, because that's really, like, a majority of, like, what we're here to see. So starting off, we got 4 King of Demonic Seas Basskirk. Running any less, and you would be considered crazy. So basically, 4, it's got the marker, which is what partly makes it good. If you have 10 or more cards in your drop zone plus 5k in a crit, becomes 17k with a crit on your turn. That's phenomenal. And then Counterblast, Soul Blast, 1 each. Call a card from your drop zone. And then Basskirk gets 5k for every grade of the unit that was called. So this goes really well with the next grade 3 that we're running. Mainly just because it becomes a 32k attacker with a crit. And yeah, it gets large and in charge. This deck makes large numbers and then applies pressure, due to those large numbers. So yeah, for Basskirk is basically the main card in which you're ever going to run. Next up, we got 4 of the reason why this deck wins as hard as it does. Being for a Dragon Undead Skull Dragon. I do apologize for the glare. I have a new recording setup that I'm trying. So basically, it can't be normal called, so basically the Sentinel fodder, so that you just ditch, or you can ride it, slap it in soul with Romario. I'll get into that in a bit. But Vanguard Rearguard, he gets 2k for every card in your drop zone, so late game this becomes massive for like 60k attackers. Apply it with a crit, ooh, boy howdy hey. And then at the end of the battle that this unit attacked, it's retired if it's on the rearguard circle. So yeah, it just cycles itself back so that you can keep using Basskirk on it. So yeah, that's why Skull Dragon is the fucking best. And then finally, 1 Violence Flanger. Violence Flanger is the reason why Violence Flanger can win games. You need to time it right, and you need to manage your resources properly. Because there have been games where I mistimed Violence Flanger, or missed Soul Blaster right before using Violence Flanger, and I was just like, oh, sadness ensue. So basically, Soul Blaster grade 3, discard any number of cards from your hand. He gets 5,000 power flat. And then during the battle that Violence Flanger attacks, your opponent can't call Sentinels nor cards of the same grade as the cards discarded from Violence Flanger's effect. So if you discard a 0, 1, or 2, 0, 1, and 2, he basically becomes unblockable. Like, your opponent can guard with grade 3s, but grade 3s don't have shield value. So he's basically just boop, go for it. So yeah, he can become unblockable. However, you do need to time it right. So yeah, 1 Violence Flanger. And that's basically it for grade 3s. We run 9 grade 3s. For grade 2s, we run 4 copies of Runeshade. He's the main grade 2 right target. He's also a main rearguard. Runeshade's really, really good. So Vanguard Rearguard, when he attacks the Vanguard, you can mill the top 2 cards of your deck to the drop zone, and then he gets 4k. And then on Rearguard Circle, if you have 10 or more cards in your drop zone, he gets 4k. So basically, if you have multiples of these by the time you're on grade 2, him being one of them, you can basically rush to grade Rush to grade 2 to help get Baskirk to that extra crit pressure, which is really nice. You do need to mitigate your deck resources though, because there have been games where I've rushed to 10 cards in drop zone too quickly, and then I wasn't able to deal it out as much or as effectively. So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, Rune Shade is a clear 4 of. Going in with the next grade 2 for Captain Nightmist. Captain Nightmist is basically just a grade 2 Baskirk. So on place, Counterblast 1, call a grade 1 or less card from your drop zone to rearguard circle, but if you have 10 or more cards in your drop zone, you can call basically anything from your drop zone, which is really, really good in terms of building a board, getting multiple dragons on board, getting Violence Flanger from your drop zone if you want to save Baskirk for a dragon. And it's just really, really solid all around. And then for the last grade 2, we run 3 copies of Commodore Blue Blood. Commodore Blue Blood is really on-hit pressure for early game, because late game your opponent's never going to let this go off. So if you have a copy of Blue Blood in your drop zone, he gets 4k, hits 13k, which is really important for force matchups. And then when he hits the Vanguard, you can retire Blue Blood, draw 2, and then ditch 1. So really, really easy. Helps get the dragon in the graveyard. And just all around, it's a solid card. I wouldn't run 4 of it at all. But 3 is a solid number. For grade 1s, we run 4 of basically Circle Magus, being Dandy Guy Romario. So if you have 10 or more cards in your drop zone, he becomes 4k. He becomes a consistent 12k on both your turn and your opponent's turn. And then when he's ridden upon or rode upon, you can Counterblast 1, take a card from hand, slap it in the soul, mill the top 3 cards of your deck, and then add 1 card from your drop zone to your hand. There hasn't been a game where I haven't ridden Romario in tournament play. So yeah, Romario is just a solid card. He's really what gets your engine going. So yeah, you want to ride Romario every single time. If you need to send back like 5, if you get Romario out of it, it'll be worth it. That's all I can say. So for Romario, and then we have our countercharge engine being 4 Dancing Cutlass. So from the drop zone, you bind another copy of Dancing Cutlass. So this requires you to have at least pairs in your drop zone. So you bind 1 other Dancing Cutlass from your drop zone. You mill the top card of your deck into the drop zone. You call a Dancing Cutlass, and then you countercharge 1. This is really, really phenomenal. Basically makes cards like Captain Nightmist free. Basically makes Baskirk a Soul Blast 1, call something from the drop zone, and just all around a really solid card for a countercharge thing. Then we have 3 Norman the Ghosty. Norman the Ghosty is a nice, interesting little card. You retire him, mill the top 2 cards of your deck, and then something gets 10k. This is really good if you're on like your Rune Shade turns on grade 2, and you just kind of boost up your rear guards by large numbers. You kind of hyper to 10 cards. You do need to be careful when it comes to Norman the Ghosty, because you need to keep track of how many times you're using it, because you can go through a lot of your deck just simply just because of how many times you used Norman the Ghosty in a turn. I think I used 3. No, I used Norman the Ghost. Usually I use Norman the Ghosty twice in 1 turn, and that usually is good enough for me. I could go for a 3rd time, but I'm like, no, I don't feel too lucky. I feel like I'm gonna mill some triggers. And you will mill some triggers eventually, but like you don't want to mill too many triggers. Like that's what I'm saying. So 3 Norman the Ghosty, and then the last grade 1 is 2 copies of Evil Shade. And Evil Shade's kind of an interesting card. I rarely use him. But so basically you can counterblast 1, bind a card from your drop zone, and call a card with the same name from your drop zone as the card bound. So if you bind a dragon from your drop zone, you get to basically call a dragon. Simple enough. Evil Shade's interesting. Helps build boards whenever I've used him, so That's really it about Evil Shade. It's nice, don't really use it all that often. And then for triggers, honestly, I hope it's kind of self-explanatory. It's, you know, it's 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. Yeah, it's 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. You don't want to deck yourself out too fast. Critical pressure is always nice, and then heals are kind of self-explanatory. So yeah, that's my Granblue deck. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, or you know what, do what you want. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed the video. So see all you in the next video.